Hey everyone, it's LaShawn with Divas Are Frugal, and this is Divas Are Frugal, the podcast. Welcome back to everyone who has, been listening to the podcast, and hello to all the new listeners. We are back with yet another podcast, and today we are talking about budgeting. So the title for today's podcast is Yes, You Need a Budget. There are so many different conversations around budgeting. And, some people say, oh, I don't budget. I don't need a budget. And some people are like, yes, I have to budget. What would I do without it? But today I'm coming to tell you that, yes, you need a budget. Most of the time when the word budget is brought up, we have it brings about a negative thought or a bad taste in our mouths. And that's because budgeting, the word, is just often seen as being negative. It's something that we don't want to talk about. It brings about thoughts of restriction and stuff like that. Things we don't want to hear about when you're talking about our money, right? But I feel like, and I know that budgeting is simply a plan for your money. Think about it. We have plans for everything else in our lives. Why not have a plan for our money? I was budgeting before I even knew what a budget was fully, I would say. I was making money, a little bit here and there, what a high school job could get you. But I was actually sitting down and making a plan for the money that I was making. And that's just because I knew I wanted certain things, but I also knew that, I didn't want to be broke either. So I had to make it work. And then over the years, as I, got older and as, life started happening, especially, after college, life started happening. There were times where I did not want to budget because I knew that I was going to see numbers that I just did not want to deal with, at all whatsoever. But as a result of that, as a result of not budgeting when I was supposed to, that would then leave me with lack of confidence about my money. And that's just not a good feeling at all. When I walk into the store, especially Target, when I walk in there and I spend $150, I want to do that with confidence. I don't want to be at the register, watching the cashier ring up everything that I'm getting, looking at her screen, okay, when is this going to stop? And feeling embarrassed, and then just having somewhat a little anxiety and buyer's remorse, just having all of these negative feelings because I just went here and I brought this stuff not knowing really if I have the money or not in my account. And when I say not having the money in my account, I'm not talking about overdrafting my account. I'm more or less talking about having money for that specific thing. That would be fun money to me. I get to go in Target and spend on what I want to spend it on, versus me really sitting down and say, do you really have $150 to just go and spend willy-nilly in Target? Or does that money need to go to a trip that's coming up? Does it need to go to a debt or to a bill? Have you really sat down with that plan? So when I don't do that, I don't sit down and do that plan, there are so many negative thoughts that, run through my mind and different feelings that I feel based on that. One thing that I had to really face is that I had to do my budget, and I have to do my budget regardless of how I feel. And that's the thing. There are a lot of feelings when it comes to money. And that's just a fact. There are a lot of feelings when it comes to money. Right? And that's a whole deeper issue, so I ain't gonna get into all of that. But I really had to realize that, okay, regardless of what may happen or what may be the ending number after you, do your money plan, aka your budget, you really need to just sit down and face it. So sitting down, facing the funk, and doing my budget when I did not want to do it because I knew that it wasn't going to be what I wanted it to be, it allowed me to know my numbers, know exactly what was going on in my account, good or bad, know what was going in, what was coming in, and what was going out. And it allowed me to, from there, create other plans. Do I need to call the credit card company and be like, look, I can't pay you this amount, but can we work something out? Or I can't pay you on this day. Can I push it, another 2 weeks when I get my next check? So just stuff like that. And you would be surprised that, a lot of your creditors, a lot of places, they will work with you. They want their money at the end of the day, so they will work with you. So I used to do things like that. Just something, whatever I had to do to make them dollars stretch. Next, we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why you need a budget. Number 1, you want to avoid unnecessary debt. A budget or a money plan will show you where all of your money is going. It's showing you the money coming in as well as the money going out. This will allow you to know what you can and cannot afford. Me, I know I'm into Brahmin bags right now, right? So I've seen a couple that I want that just came out this fall. And they cute, but they cost a couple of $100. So it would be wise for me to, go ahead and have my money plan together so I can see if I can freely go and purchase the bag that I want, that I've been eyeing. If not, I may think like, okay, I know I got it in the bank or whatever. I'm not going to overdraft my account and I'll go get it. But I may have, spent unnecessary money just because I didn't remember, which is true. I have some medical bills that have kind of been in holding. It's a whole situation. But anyway, I got a notice for them today. And so I had to pay on that. Mind you, it had been in my budget because I just knew it was coming up. But still, what if I'm thinking, oh, they ain't heard from them folks. They fine or whatever. Let me go ahead and use my money for what I want to use it for and have fun with it. And not even thinking dang, you got a bill coming up. And another thing, like your car tag. I know here in Georgia, we do our car tags the same month as your birthday. Your tags are due. And now my tag is really, really cheap. Thank the Lord. But before it was $100 and something, right? A couple of years ago. So even with that, what if I went and brought this bag for $300-400 and I had a medical bill and I need my tag because I cannot be around here riding dirty, okay? So that would be unnecessary debt if I had all of those things to pay, because I would be so upset if I would have had to return the bag that I brought, okay? Having a budget or a money plan gives you a clear view of your spending habits, because when you're going over your plan every month, you start to see, okay, I know with me, the gym. For a long time, I was going to the gym. And I was like, okay, it was benefiting me because I was going. And then for a year and a half after my husband and I moved, I was real hit and miss. And it was because of the distance of the gym. But still, after a while, it was you know what? You really need to give up the membership. Give up the membership until you figure out another gym that is closer that you want to go to. But I was paying these people $20 every single month for over a year, and may have stepped foot in the gym 5 times. A waste of money. I would go work out at the park that's up the street from my house before I would drive all the way, a 20-minute drive to the gym. So, yeah. So, doing my budget and stuff, I kept writing that down every month and seeing that $20 was coming out. And eventually I was like, you know what? I know I'm not going back over there. Let me just go ahead and cut that out of my budget. So that's an example of, doing a budget and it really giving you a clear view of what you're spending money on. Also, with food, I know a lot of people like to eat out. So that could be something where if you're tracking your money, you're going to see okay, I eat out this many times a week. And this is the type of food I'm eating. And I'm spending a lot of money on food or whatever. So it just allows you to kind of get a clear view of everything that's going on in your account. Number 3, understand where your money is going and coming from. So just simply, knowing your numbers, knowing, okay, where your money's going, who you be paying all the time and what you be paying them. Are you paying subscription services, a lot of money and you're not using that? What type of income is coming in? What you could do differently maybe to gain more income. So just knowing your numbers. Number 4, keep a clear mind. Having a budget allows you to keep a clear mind. I've talked about this a couple of times on this podcast, but it's definitely true. When you know your numbers and you know your money plan, you will definitely sleep better at night. And lastly, number 5, having a budget will allow you to save more money. So going over your numbers, knowing what's going in and coming out, you can really see where you have extra money that you can put into savings. You can add it to your existing savings or start a savings. And one thing I always say about savings is that you can start with as little as $5 if you have to, just to get into the habit of saving. And then from there, as you find more and more money in your budget, you can then increase that saving. Just like, again, with my gym membership. Okay, that $20 that I was not spending on the gym, I could put that into savings until I find another gym that I may want to go to, and it'll go towards that. But until then, if that doesn't happen rather, then I will put that $20 and add it to my existing savings. So that wraps up today's podcast. And I'm going to quickly go over the 5 reasons one more time. The 5 reasons you need a budget. 1, to avoid unnecessary debt. 2, to have a clear understanding of your spending habits. 3, to understand the money that is coming and going. 4, to keep a clear mind. And 5, to save more. Thanks for taking time to listen to today's podcast. I hope that this podcast helped you in some way. If you know of anybody out there that you feel like would benefit from something, even if it's one part of this podcast, please don't hesitate to share it with them. And I will see you all next time. Okay, let's pause for 1 second. I want to talk to you really quickly about podcasting. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to, start my podcast, get it off the ground, I had a lot of questions. I wanted to know, how do I record an episode? What equipment do I need? What type of music, like legit music, could I use on my podcast? How do I get my podcast out for everybody to listen to, right? So I had all these questions, and the answer was simply Anchor. So Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing your podcast. Best of all, it is 100% free. Yes, I'll say that again, 100% free and easy to use. So I've been using it for a while now. I love it. I love the tools. I love the updates that they give you. It is definitely legit, okay? So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, if you've been toying around with this on your to-do list, on your goals list or whatever, go ahead and go over to anchor.fm/start and get started today, okay? So once you sign up and you get your first podcast recorded, let me know so that I can go ahead and listen, okay? See what you're talking about.